Hidden among the valleys and mountains of Asturias, almost buried by vegetation, this rural palace is concealed. It remains here in silence. These places were symbols of power, of wealth, of families who had everything and one day left. Today, only the shadow of what this place once was remains, and questions without answers. Why was it abandoned? What stories were trapped within these walls? Join me, because today we're going to enter one of the most hidden and forgotten rural palaces in Asturias. And what remains here says much more than you can imagine.
What a shame. Look, there's a piano back there that's been tipped over. How's it going, YouTube family? Well, today I'm traveling along ancient paths of our ancestors here in Asturias. I'm heading to an abandoned rural palace that still preserves, well, some magic, because these are palaces that belong to our history and once had a lot of luxury. They were the nerve centers for all the people around here from the area. They provided a lot of jobs, and they also owned most of the land around here, and today it's in total decline. As I mentioned though, they still have some very beautiful details. I haven't been here in a while and don't know how it is now. I think it's probably worse, but I want to walk around later to see what we find. So I'll take this opportunity to leave my social media links over there, as always, in case you want to stay a bit more up to date with content that I don't upload here to YouTube. And let's get to it. Look, family, I think this was the entrance where the gate to the property used to be, back in its day, in its best times. But I have to tell you, this has nothing to do with how I knew it, okay? It's almost completely buried now. Look at what a beautiful and big breadbasket they had here, which is also being ravaged by the passage of time. I'm going to show you a bit around the property, then we'll get into the details. Today the lighting isn't very good, I have to tell you. It's been raining a lot and it's, well, still completely overcast, and you can really tell by the lighting. Look how amazing. They had a fountain here. Look at this stonework, huh? This was probably reused here. It really looks like there was a door, and then they took advantage of it to make a fountain. Look, there's a staircase here too to go up to the gardens above, huh? They made this last forever, huh? The condition of the property, obviously, well, look, this tree has already eaten part of the roof. It probably started as just a little bush, and look at it now, huh? The property is quite big. This was the part of the house that's in pretty bad shape today. I'll show you around later, since much of the roof has collapsed. But if we stick the camera through the window, we might see some interesting things. Let's explore around here first, around the surroundings, so you can see. This house has a surprise that I'll show you later. Look, there's still old machinery here for the grass. Wow, it's still here. Well, I have to tell you that if it weren't for some cows that eat this area here, this property would already be completely buried. I think this used to be a hayloft, a barn or something like that, and the access was over here. See, there's a bunch of... Well, bees used to work a lot here because these are for the bees. And here they used to keep animals or grass back in the day. I'm not really sure. There's not much to see either. I'm not going to dwell on details like this. Let's get straight to the point. To the house. There were two entrances. One was this one, which from what I'm seeing now is unusable. I mean, it's impossible to get in through here. Look at this wheelbarrow, how rusty it is, man. It's going to be impossible to go up this way. He likely had the pigsties here for the pig, though it's hard to see since we're backlit. The light is playing a trick on us. They had the pigsties there. And over here there was a huge stable that provided warmth to the entire upper part of the house. I'm telling you, the house is in really bad shape. I don't know what we'll be able to see. You can see how the roofs are. It's been a really long time since anyone has come here. Look at the back. You can barely even get in anymore. There was also a place to keep animals there. It was like a kind of courtyard. In fact, there's a heater there. I don't know if you can see it. It's really old right there among the vegetation. Oh, it's in such bad shape that the door fell off just from me leaning on it. Let me put it back so it doesn't fall. Unbelievable. This is pretty bad. I think they had chickens here. This was the place. There's the little mesh and everything. I think they had chickens here. In fact, look, they use the old food bowls to feed them. Imagine this, life back in the day in its glorious times. Let's go this way, checking out each window, poking the camera in because I can see that I won't be able to get into most of them. Well, this is just a plain room. I'm lucky to have the stick so I can reach through the windows, because otherwise, nowadays, we wouldn't be able to see much. All right, another room, a hallway. I can't see it very well from here, but anyway, there's nothing interesting. The cool and interesting things were in these because they were the actual property. Look, okay, it is what it is. See, there's a very old wardrobe there, a table still with things on it. Impressive. Impressive, man. Let's see if you can see a little more. This one is closed, but look at the detail. It still has the flower pots here. Who was the last one to water those plants? And here was a surprise. Pay attention, okay? What? Oh my goodness, how much this has changed, huh? Look, there's a piano back there that's been tipped over. I remember it being nicely placed. Look, what a room, huh? How beautiful. And we won't be able to go in because of the condition it's in. Man, what a shame, huh? This photo is from a totally different time, right? How wonderful, amazing, all the couches, everything, huh? These people had a lot of money back in the day. And we're going to find out because of another detail inside the house. Specifically right there, which now seems like there's nothing. That door over there holds, well, a secret, which I'm going to leave for the end. Right now, I think it has even collapsed, you know? Look at this image here, too, up there, the flower pots. This detail impresses me a lot. And now, yes, let's see how the house is. Oh my goodness. You can tell that the vine has been covering the whole facade these past few years. Okay, this was the entrance to the palace. Look at the floor. Those floors from that era were so beautiful. I can see the house is running out of time, so we need to be careful. The ceiling collapsed in that room, so we can't see it anymore. This one is a bit warped, even if you can't tell, and I don't think it has much time left either. These vintage chairs, huh? Look. Engraved here, probably the initials. Nowadays it's very worn out. Here's a document that I don't know what language it's in, honestly. Fill in the following sentences. I am an idol. One. I don't know. If anyone knows what language this is, let me know. This paper looks really old, huh? From the 60s or so. Well, more of these couches. Old ones. What a shame, huh? Honestly, we won't be able to see anything here. It's collapsed and structurally it's in terrible shape. I mean, we're going to miss out on a lot of rooms. Look, here was a room where they stored, well, plates. Actually, there was a bit of everything, huh? It was a multi-purpose room. There were all kinds of tools. You can see what this place looks like. There were tools for things like changing the oil in the car. Look at this old Repsol can. A piece of furniture where they probably worked on wood or something. I'm not exactly sure what they did here. See that window? It's so rundown. Over here they had a lot of preserves. I can see they had beans from the farm. Select watches. Beans, sorry. I was reading watches. Select beans. Now they have fava beans. Look, they probably harvested this right here, huh? Impressive. I don't know what this is. It's black. They look like raisins or blueberries. And this is the same. They look like raisins or dried grapes. And over here, birdseed. Look, they should have birds. This is birdseed. What furniture, huh? So beautiful. God, I would love to restore one like this and put it in the kitchen. They're super, super beautiful, huh? They're just lost here like this furniture, but I've already bought one. And let's see if I make a video restoring it and putting it in my kitchen, because I'm planning to do a few things to bring it back. I'm renting, okay? But I'd like to add a few touches, not spend too much money, put in one of these pieces of furniture I bought from a follower, restore it, put up some little curtains like in the old days, and leave it like that. Like this. I love it, I really do. I know it's kind of nerdy, but I think it's awesome. They had little chairs here to sit on, probably for outside or to go to the beach, even though we're pretty far from the sea. How curious, huh? Look, there are details everywhere, you know? Look, those little bowls for heating milk have been repaired, huh? The bowls were repaired. Nothing was thrown away before. What a nice touch, kid. Amazing. Even here in a palace, nothing was thrown away, nothing was bought, everything was repaired. Let's go see, nothing was thrown away, everything was repaired. I'm not really sure what this would be for, huh? If someone can give us an idea of what this could be for. The image there of the umbrella and the for hanging clothes, handmade, huh? A mirror to look at yourself. And here, I think you're going to be a bit amazed. You'll see. There was a sink here, very strange, right here in the middle. I don't know if they made some kind of wine here. I get the feeling that they could have made some wine here. I don't know. That's just my feeling, you know? From other basements of big houses that I've seen. Look, what a trough, huh? This is priceless, not just because of the history, but because it's huge. I mean, a person could lie down inside here, you know? This was for the pig slaughter, then they used it, as you can see, for coal. They were storing coal here. Look at these altar pieces. Look at this incredible collection of carved wooden pieces. I don't know where this could be. Maybe in what I'm going to show you later. I didn't know about this, you know? I always saw it lying around here. This has been abandoned for years. Look at this here. What windows? They used to add color to everything, huh? Look at these doors. You can get an idea of where this might come from. There are more small things here like altar pieces. Over there are chairs. Well, there are little things that can give you clues. There's the door of an old clock with its key and everything. A washing machine or dryer. I think it's a washing machine. But it's really old. No, it's a... Yes, it's a washing machine. It's a washing machine or something like that. And here, this was used for the slaughter, for smoking. I mean, this is where they did it. You can tell by the walls because everything is completely black, right? Let's head this way, to that room over there, which is one of the few places I see that we're going to be able to explore. Because there's something incredible back here. Look, wow, it's really run down, huh? What a shame. What a shame. This house even had a chapel. Look. How beautiful, huh? It doesn't have any saints or anything left, but there's still a very old cross around here. This must have been beautiful once, huh? Oh. All decorated. And this is the problem. This, which a few years ago was in very good shape, has now fallen apart. In fact, I think this part here is going to collapse too. This is dangerous, but look how beautiful it is. It's a real shame it's like this. Pure history. Well, I don't think we're going to be able to see much more. Before continuing the exploration of the area, I'd like to show you the granary. This was quite an important building. You can tell it belonged to a very, very wealthy family. Down here, they probably kept... well, they have it closed off so the cows don't get in, so I try not to touch anything that's closed, okay? Look at this. Look at these stone stairs. These used to be aerial granaries. I know you all know this, but I mention it in every video because there are always new people. They were aerial granaries used to store the harvest. In Asturias, they're called oseas, oseos, and many other names. But these baskets were what they used to collect all the harvests and a lot of other things like wild fruits, and they brought them here to be preserved. These wooden constructions, some of which are over 500 years old, right? The paneras are less old because they are from the century. This is a panera. They are from the 18th century, from when corn arrived. It's completely empty. There's nothing here, but look how well it's still preserved without any kind of maintenance. They use noble woods. Look at these boards too. Not just anyone could have this. This was a symbol of power at the time. The bigger the granary or the bread box, the more power you had. So this was an addition to the house. Always in an important house, there's a huge bread box next to it. The light hits us a bit there, which annoys me because you can't see it properly. And as I was explaining the difference between the granary and the bread box, the granary dates back 500 years. The bread box was an adaptation. It was made bigger because there was corn. There was a much larger harvest. So they needed it to be bigger to store more, and that's how the bread box was born. You can tell them apart. There's always a big debate whether you should look at the top or the bottom. But really, if you just look at the base, if it's rectangular, it's always a bread box, and if it's square, it's a granary. You can also look up here. Do you see that thing sticking out there? Well, those are called cantapacharinos. If there's one, it's a granary, and if there are two, it's a bread box. So with all these details, I hope that at least those of you who aren't from Asturias will be able to identify them, because it's really beautiful. I remember going around with my grandmother and my relatives and asking, is that a granary? No, it's a bread box. No. Ever since it became clear to me, I haven't had any doubts. Because it's true that there are granaries that have several pegolos, which are the legs underneath, the ones that support the granary. If they have 4, it was believed to be a granary, and if they had more than 4, it was believed to be a bread box. But there are granaries that had to be reinforced, and they added more pegolos to them. It's pretty interesting, okay? You can look up Horeo with an H. I'll also write it down for you to check out. I'm going to continue exploring. I'm going to keep walking around here in the area, and I'm sure more interesting places will show up. So let's make the most of the day, because it's been raining a lot these days, and today is the first day it looks like the sky is starting to clear up a bit. Well, look, I didn't have to go very far to find another abandoned house. It's relatively close. Look at this. The little wall has collapsed. In fact, it doesn't even have a door, huh? Let's see if I can get there. It's in really bad shape, look, huh? It doesn't even have a door, huh? I'm going to get in through here. Wow, wow, wow. Look at this, huh? Whew. Wow, this piece of furniture. Not sure about you all, but I think this furniture looks like it's from the palace. Don't mess with me, look at it, huh? Are you seeing this, man? There are traces of... Look, there's a... Well, I'm blown away. I mean, this humble house with these pieces of furniture... I'm not sure, but I don't want to assume the worst. Share your thoughts in the comments. I think these pieces of furniture are from that palace or another one, you know? I'm not saying it's from that one, but well, it's the closest. Look at this Hino fruit salt, huh? What year do you think this is from, man? Effervescent antacid. Look, we have a calendar here. 1900? 98, huh? There are more pieces of furniture here, including a bookshelf at the end. Look at how this is, huh? Wow, there was a beehive or something here. Look, that's crazy. It's all dead bees, huh? All dead bees. Look, what a library there is here. With a bunch of matchboxes from Asturias. These pieces of furniture are so beautiful, huh? My goodness, man, and the quality, huh? They don't even have any woodworm. They have a little here, but who knows what century this furniture is from. Wow, look at this beautiful traditional kitchen. Look at these Pepsi drinks from 1,000 years ago, huh? And the water bottle? Wow, this place has been abandoned for years, hasn't it? The little gas stove, which is the updated version of this one, I always tell you. This one doesn't have a brand, it's missing the brand plate, but it's really well preserved, huh? Look at the old sink, surely from the first house that was here. Soap scouring pad. Paul, what's he got there? Paul jalapa powder. I don't know what this is. If anyone knows jalapa powder. It's the first time I've seen it. The television would be here for sure. And here they would put the decorations. Look, okay? What details, man? Before everything had details that gave you a sense of home. Look at this. All these cobwebs and the electric meter inside the house and the old one, right? It was never even replaced. The hands. The beds are here in the middle of the hallway. They're beds you see, right? From what year? Okay, another dressing table. This one does look more austere, although I have to say again that these pieces of furniture just don't fit at all. We won't be able to go upstairs because the staircase has completely given way. Look, this room has also collapsed. Bed headboards too. I don't know. I get the feeling that either they bought these pieces of furniture back in the day or they brought them, you know, from a palace. Look, you know, this is about to fall apart, man. Well, I'm going to get out of here because there's not much else. I find these windows from the living room to the bedrooms really funny, probably to let in some light because there wasn't a window here, same as those up there. I like it. I don't know what you guys think. Well, a tiny little house, but it had its surprises, huh? I'll read your comments later to see what you think. But we're pretty close in kilometers. Beautiful, huh?
Traveling through rural Asturias is like walking among absences. Houses that once had fires burning and life today resist the passage of time. But not to oblivion, they are left alone. Every closed door is a story that left without making a sound.
Well, family, to finish the video, I'm going to show you the last house I found, a few kilometers from where we were exploring. First of all, let me tell you that they must have had the old stables here. Today they're completely, well, ruined, but the property is very beautiful, right? Look at where it's located, what a view it has from here with the palm tree. Amazing, right? This must have been an important house back in the day, huh? It has some impressive views, huh? I'm going to get closer just out of curiosity. I almost fell to the ground. Look, what an old sink, huh? These are already signs that the families who lived here had a high purchasing power. Look, huh? What a view, man. It's crazy. Also, due to the house's shape, I'll check over here since the windows are broken. Wow, they actually have old furniture too, huh? It's just that it's really, really messy, huh? Now, I'm telling you, the estate is impressive, huh? Wow, look how beautiful, huh? The palm tree is always an indication that they had been immigrants and had made money, well, in places where there are palm trees like Cuba and places like that. They brought them to make the house stand out and add prestige. That's why this kind of palm tree usually appears in palaces. The house is really, really beautiful. Also, really, look. It's amazing, man, that nobody has bought this, huh? Poof, what a wonder. This palm tree is years old, huh? Let's take a look, because they closed the house many years ago with these things. But, well, all the windows are broken. Wow, this is the kitchen. This is the kitchen. And look, I'm going to zoom in for you because there's a pantry with a lot of stuff. Man, it's a shame. It's a shame I can't go in. The window is closed, and also I noticed that here they've tied it shut with rope. So, well, the property, I imagine they have horses or something, so I'll show it to you from here. Look at the furniture. How curious, like this, without the zoom. So you can see the image a bit larger and take in the whole room. It's true that the upper part is in bad shape. It has a lot of damp spots. That beam at the end is pretty rotten there, so you have to be careful. But what a shame, right? What an incredible place with these iron columns. I get the feeling that maybe back in the day it could have been an inn or a place where, well, people could come to shop. The pantry was pretty big. Well, a very interesting place. I wanted to show it to you, to finish the video. I think there are cow tracks here and other things. So someone is taking care of the property. I don't know if it's also the owner of this house or not, but what a gem they have here, huh? As always, I don't reveal locations, so don't ask me about it, even if you like it, okay? Oh, how wonderful. With these views, this impressive house, well, houses that we found, I really love this one because of the views it has. I'll take this opportunity to say goodbye, but before that, I want to tell you a couple of things. First, thank you for always being there every Tuesday. Another thing is that I've created a playlist that you've been asking me for a long time, which is the videos of Federico, from the very first time I met him to the last video I've recorded with him. I'll leave it for you in the comments as well, pinned, so you can check it out. And if you follow me on social media, you'll also be a bit more up to date with all the content I can't upload here because it's not the right format for YouTube, and you'll be up to date. Even with reminders of videos that in the 3 years I've been here on YouTube, some of you probably haven't seen, and I'll be posting reminders. So, as I said, thank you from the bottom of my heart for always being there. And remember to follow me. It really supports me a lot. See you next Tuesday.